What's up, DJs? Welcome to part 3 of this series where I'm going to be showing you a few cool and creative transitions that you can do on this controller. So feel free to follow along on the screen, but I'll also be breaking each transition down afterwards. Let's hop right into it.
Yeah. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Yeah. Check 1 2 1 2. You know how it goes. 1 1 2 1 2. That was
All right, DJ. So there's the first transition there. This one is pretty easy to accomplish. All you have to do is be looking out for that fourth beat on the last bar before you want to drop in the next track. So this is kind of like a hard cut, but you're using that reverb out in order to give yourself some space before you drop the next track. And it also has that tail of reverb, which always sounds nice. So for this transition, you want to make sure you have a specific reverb setting set. So all you have to do is first click this button here and then go over to effects right here. So the reverb out that I'm using is this one right here. And I also have mine set to hold. So when you have hold turned off, if I actually hit this effect, it won't actually stay on. But if I press hold right here, now when I press it, that reverb stays on. So this particular reverb effect, if I hit this pencil icon and then I hit the ellipses here, it's this reverb out under FX Essentials. There's other reverb options that you can have as far as under classic, but that won't actually be a reverb out. So you want to make sure that you're using the reverb out here. And then on the actual pad, as you can see, I'm just on my effects section, and that's where I'm pressing that reverb out. Now let's go ahead and move on to transition number 2. All right, DJs, there is transition number 2. Now for this transition, we're using the filter and we're also using the hydrant effect. So essentially with this one, if you have 2 tracks building up, all you want to do is you want to enable that hydrant effect somewhere. You can do 4 bars before, you can do 8 bars, you can do 16 bars. You're pretty much free to choose however many bars that you want to add that effect to. All you want to do before it actually drops is you want to start increasing your filter, your high pass going up and up and up. And as soon as you get to the drop, you want to go ahead and make sure that you drop out that volume all the way out. And then you want your filter to be all the way up. Again, that's right before the drop. Now let's go ahead and move on to transition number 3. All right, DJs, there is transition number 3. As you can see, this one started off with me playing this deck on the right-hand side, and I went ahead and took out the harmonics, which is the melody and the bass, as well as the drums, dropped that out first. So I just had my vocals left on this side. Then I just played around with those vocals just a little bit as the other song was getting prepared to drop. And then once the other song was ready to drop, I went ahead and just kept pressing this particular vocal pad here. And then once I was ready to actually drop the entire thing, I went ahead and activated the echo out by pressing this echo out right here. I just turned it on right here. Now, the specific reason I went ahead and did it on this particular pad section, as you can see on the app, you have instant, you have pad, and you have manual. Now, manual gives you the most options as far as exactly what you want to do. So as you can see here, I have my beat set to 1. I can change that to 2 beats. I can go down to a 3/4 beat or half beat. I also have tons of different options I can choose from, same effects. However, when you're in this manual mode, now I can change my wet and dry settings, which is basically my intensity here. And I can also change, for example, reverb, I can take my depth or my intensity down using this knob, and then I can also change my my beat values here in the middle. So this is kind of like, both are kind of like somewhat of intensity. You can play around with them and see what each of those do. So again, definitely play around with these different modes. Now lastly, let's go ahead and move on to transition number 4.
Take a look at what the mind really mean though. All in together, got my mind on machine flow. Got it locked, rhyming in the park, rhyming in the dark. Sawed off the spot like a hawk, then I hit the mark. I don't give a fuck if what you doing is the newest shit. I do this shit, the music is the bag. I'm the pugilist, specialist on the precipice. Not your head to this, smoking better shit. Reverence as I reminisce. What I represent, the thugs in the party, full of shawties, make them wanna move their bodies. Streets taught me, always move with an army, even just the army of me, and do it godly. I represent for all the underground kings, all around the world. I've been doing my thing. I represent for all the underground kings, all around the world. I've been doing my thing. Go ahead, make it move, girl. Go ahead, make it move. Yeah, go ahead, make it move, girl. Go ahead, make it move. Yeah, go ahead, make it move, girl. Go ahead, make it move. Yeah, go ahead, make it move, girl. Go ahead, make it move. All around the world, I've been doing my thing. All around the world, I've been doing my thing. All around the world, I've been doing my thing. All around the world, I've been doing my thing. All around the world, I've been doing my thing. All around the world, I've been doing my thing.
All right, DJs, there is transition number 4. So with this one, I started off with my right deck over here. I had just my vocal playing. So I did that by taking off my harmonics and my drums using these EQs here. And then at some point, I think it was around 8 bars in, it can be whatever bars that you want to use when you're doing your actual mixing. But I just went ahead and I started taking these drums out and I started bringing in the drums in for the track that I wanted to transition in. So once I got to a specific point in the track, I made sure this was turned completely off and I made sure this was completely on. And then after that, I also went ahead and I started bringing up my melody. So my harmonics, my bass, and my melody for the track that I was going in. So I went ahead and turned that up. And then when I got to a specific point in this song, so it's this part right here, right at the bar 29, I went ahead and I went over to my loop section and I just pressed number 5. So if we go over to loop right here, we can see that when we press number 5, that gives us a 4-beat loop right there. So if I go ahead and press this, actually, let me go ahead and move back a little bit right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that gives me that 4-beat loop right there, or 1-bar loop right there. So I went ahead and I played with that a little bit. So I started on 5, went back to 4, went down to 3. So with that last transition, following the actual transition, since I still had that loop going and I had that vocal and it was perfectly matched, I went ahead and I just raised my volume fader up and down just to bring that vocal back in and back out. So that was just something I kind of did creatively and just freestyling in that moment. So that's definitely something that you can do as well. When you have a particular element that's looping, especially something like a vocal, if it fits with the other track pretty well, you can go ahead and bring that back up. I think I also use the filter within that as well. So definitely get creative, especially when you're using those loops. Make sure that you're using different beat lengths if you can, depending on the transition that you're doing. So those were 4 different transitions that you can do with this DJControl Mix Ultra. Definitely hope you enjoyed. One last piece of advice, there's tons of things that you can do and tons of things that you can edit within the DJ app, the software. So definitely make sure that you just go around, check everything out, and see what fits best for you. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to part number 4, which is gonna be your intro to scratching.